Hi everybody! Today we're going to talk about being single. Before we talk about it though, I need to take a moment to introduce Pixel, my kitten. I think a lot of you already know her. She gets very upset when I try to do these videos without her, so she'll be joining us today as we chat. The two questions that I'm going to answer are: one, what do you honestly miss about being single? And two, what are some things you wish you had done before getting married? Now, if you are watching this video to figure out what I regret about my life, shoo, you can go away. If you're watching this video to try to learn or, get some awesome advice, like if I was having coffee with you, then I will tell you some things about myself. I think most of us, when we ask the question, what do you wish you had done when you were single, we are actually kind of asking, what should I do since I'm single? So I can't tell you what to do as a single person, but I can tell you things that I wish I had done or done differently when I was single. And then I can tell you some things that I did do as a single person that I thought were really great and helped me out with, life. So here goes. I wish that I had stopped worrying about the fact that I was single. I wouldn't have done like the epic life math formula, which you know what it is. It's where you say,
I want to have two kids and I need to be done having them by the time I'm 33, and I want to be married for 3 years before I have kids, which means I need to be starting to have kids by the time I'm 30, and I need to get married by the time I'm 27, and I really need to be engaged for a year before I get married, so I need to be engaged by the time I'm 26, and I really need to date him for at least a year before I make that kind of decision, so I need to be dating him by the time I'm 25.
And oh my god, I turn 25 next week. My whole life is ruined. I have 7 days to find the guy, or my whole plan goes down the drain and I will never have children. So yes, I did that, and I would just like to ask you personally and as a friend to not do that, because it's a terrible way to live your life. For the record, I was super single when I was 23, and within like 4 months I was talking very seriously to a guy, and we road tripped for like 5 months, and then he proposed, and then we were married a month later. So I'm 25 now, and I was on the like trajectory to get married at 30 at best, and now I've been married for a year. So you can't plan anything, so just stop. The second thing is that I wish I'd realized how happy I was. Sounds weird, but there's two parts. First part is that loneliness is a little bit more complicated than I have thought it was. For example, the greatest part of marriage is also the worst, and it's the fact that someone is always there. Now, when you choose to be alone, it's a really great thing. But if you aren't choosing to be alone and you're alone because you like don't have any other option, it's really easy to start feeling bad for yourself, and that quickly spirals into, oh my gosh, I'm such a lonely person. And then, if you don't check it, you'll get really depressed like I did. So I think I wish that I had realized that a lot of the times I felt lonely, I was actually really just alone. Now, when I want to be alone, I have to choose to be alone, and I have to choose to have space, and so it feels like a positive being alone because I got to choose it and be in control of it. But when I was single, even though now I'll look back and say, oh my god, I have so much space and so much free time and it was amazing, I didn't feel like I was choosing that for myself, so I thought I was really unhappy and really lonely. Sometimes I was lonely, and that's totally fine, but I really just wish I had realized I was happy. I wish that I hadn't had this underlying sense of I'm never going to truly be happy until I find the right guy to marry. And I really wish that I'd realized that I was a fun person and I was having a lot of fun, and it would have been even greater if I had stopped thinking so much about the future. I really miss no one judging my bank account and what I spend money on. I miss eating macaroni and cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I still can do, but now I'm judged. Like, I wish I would have just become friends with guys or girls, whoever I ran into, instead of overthinking things and trying to figure out if they were marriage material. And I wish I spent more money on myself for things like makeup and doing my hair and lingerie. And I didn't really have that much money to spend, but it's a lot easier to justify spending money on things for yourself when you're single. And it's also really important to get comfortable in things that you feel like you would like before you get married. For instance, trying on crazy lingerie and wearing it around. It's way better if you get that stuff out of the way as a single person than if you try to do it a year into marriage, because then you just feel like it's this completely different person and it's not you. When really there is no, this is who Lauren Nicole is. It's just, things we've done and things we haven't. I wish I had experimented with more ridiculous looks, because when I was home alone, I was like really home alone and there was no one to see me in all of my ridiculousness. I wish that I had spent more time hanging out with married women and talking to them. And granted, that's kind of why I started the Good Women Project. But I wish that I hadn't seen married women as like this completely different species of human beings. I wish I'd realized they were just girls who had had a boyfriend and decided to put a ring on it. It would have been a lot easier for me to be friends with them. Things I'm glad that I did. So I took some trips with girlfriends. I didn't go backpacking around Europe, but I visited big cities around me and I went across the country a couple times. I picked skills that I wished I had, like photography or graphic design, and I spent all my extra time learning them. I learned how to be financially responsible. I learned how to balance different kinds of budgets. I learned how to start paying back loans. I learned how to not use a credit card. Don't wait for someone else to come into your life and teach you how to do that. I moved to a new city as a single person, like 2 or 3 times. And if you don't want to move, don't. But if you do, go for it. You learn a lot about yourself and you get to experiment with being a different kind of person. I lived alone in an apartment. I did have roommates, and I think having roommates is great. But living alone, it's really awesome. You only get to do that once. I experimented, I think, a lot with makeup. I know I said that I wish I had done that more, but I don't mean superficial things like I wish I had experimented with wearing eyeliner. I more of just mean I wish I had played around with being different types of people or looking a different way. I wish I had been a little bit more adventurous than even I was. I worked on a lot of different projects and just did a lot of different hobbies and met a lot of different people and spent time doing wildly different things. And I learned a lot about myself and a lot about how the world works. I have 2 things to say, though, on an ending note. Don't ever, ever turn down a relationship with a really amazing guy because you haven't checked like 3 things off your before I get married list. We don't know when we're going to meet that kind of guy, and if he is right, he will join you on your list of things to do, or you'll just realize you're growing into a more full version of yourself. So don't be afraid to admit that you don't want the things you used to want, and remember that change is good so long as you feel at peace. The second thing is you might not actually want to make a before I get married list. You might just want to make a what I want to do with my life list and do those things, because your life is your life, whether you're single or dating or married. So go do it.